Episode 65, chug along. Fun-filled week. Actually, I think there's only a couple of things that everybody has been talking about this week. So, the big bros falling apart. So we're going to talk about that. And then, next week, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference kicks off on Monday. So, early predictions. I guess we'll see. Let's predict and see how plugged in we are into the tech scene. But anyways, we'll start there and let's see how the conversation takes us.
I intentionally didn't text you any thoughts about what was going on with Trump and Musk.
You're pretty silent on something like that.
I wanted to come in to this conversation fresh and
Yeah,
reflective and just, what's the word? Off script, all that
right.
stuff.
Yeah,
But it was pretty wild.
I know. It was like watching a reality TV show happen in
Yeah.
real time.
Yeah. To sum up for those who don't pay attention to it much, but I doubt that's anyone since it's been in every news lately. Musk had his speech in the Oval Office last week where he was saying that he's stepping away from Doge, stepping away from the White House. Trump gave him the key to the White House, which was a good gesture. They show that they were still friends and Musk was just leaving and it was a good time. And then was it immediately after that, or maybe it was the next day that
Next day.
Elon started posting and condemning the bill that Trump is trying to push through Congress, which is going to, in Elon's mind, increase government spending by about $2 trillion.
No.
It first started with Elon, then Trump tweeted on Truth Social, then Elon tweeted back. I think where it really culminated is when Elon posted, which is now something he deleted, talking about saying the reason why the Jeffrey Epstein files have not been released to the public is because Trump is in them.
Yep.
Alluding to that he would, be maybe convicted or been shown of doing shady things as well. So, yeah, it was quite a chaotic circus that I was really surprised by.
Hmm. I wasn't necessarily surprised. So I don't think half the country was surprised, or it was to be expected of more of like when, right? When is it going to happen? Just because their personalities are just too big, right? Narcissistic, etc. is the description everybody will throw in there at some point. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of to be expected. It's just a matter of nobody knew how or when,
Mhm.
what shape it would take place. But yeah, it's
I
pretty.
didn't think it'd be just so extreme.
Yeah, I think so. Like Elon's first tweet, I mean, it kind of makes sense why he did it, right? It's just like, all right, yeah, this bill is really bad. And then, of course, Trump doesn't like to feel like he's been betrayed or attacked. And so I think his tweet in return accelerated. And then, of course, Elon is Elon, right? And so he's like, no, that's not it, right? But yeah, no, it escalated pretty quick. But I mean, as of now, right, Elon deleted a few of his more
Mm,
controversial tweets. So, you start to wonder, like, how far is he willing to step back?
yeah.
Or how far is he willing to go against Trump, right? And you kind of wonder who has the cards, so to speak.
Well, it's clearly not Taco.
It might be. There's one where Elon was like, okay, fine, scrapping the Dragon capsules.
Yeah.
At that point, the US is actually kind of out of luck because previously, before SpaceX, we actually relied on Russia to send up a
Mhm.
lot of. Well, I said we can't do that now, but since Trump and Putin are buddies, who knows? But yeah, kind of weird. I don't know how far. I'm more curious if it's going to continue, if it'll escalate anymore. I feel like Elon is kind of walking back a little bit.
It does
But yeah,
seem like he's maybe, reflecting a little bit. Okay, that was very impulsive in terms of what he did.
yeah,
Walking back a little. Yes, still has these thoughts in his mind, feels what he feels. I
yeah,
think there's going to be more, public displays of fighting,
Yeah.
but maybe to a less extreme or less
Yeah.
reactive.
Yeah.
Probably, the board again, they dangled replacing him in the past.
Yeah.
The board probably sent him a strongly worded message saying, "What are you doing? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're tanking Tesla stock again,
Yeah.
so stop."
Brutal. Yeah. It's a brutal like 15-20% drop.
Yeah,
Um, but
in one
great,
day.
great trade if you were there for it.
Yeah, and here's what I think. At one point, Donald Trump called Elon the first best friend, and so I think Trump is a bit blindsided, but also he probably already knew these thoughts that Elon had about the bill, and I'm sure they got into arguments or debates,
Hmm.
in the White House about it. So, I don't think it's a surprise to Trump that Elon was not a fan of it. I think it's interesting to see how held back Trump is actually comparatively, because usually he runs his mouth as well, but I don't think he necessarily went all out in this one. And I think that Elon going into the White House and spending a ton of his time in politics was probably very hard for him, like in terms of time to spend on this and his 6 other companies. And just the nature of politics is not great, especially for tech CEOs who want to move fast, break things, and go. That was something hard for him to deal with. And lastly, when he saw this bill and how he came there to reduce the deficit
Yeah.
or reduce his spending, and now you're just going to increase it to kind of negate all the
Yeah.
time he just put into this. That's deflating and demotivating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more indicative of the presidency that like once you've kind of like your usefulness is gone, or once it's gotten what it's needed, it'll kind of discard you without really a second thought, right? Even though I think I've read Trump is big on loyalty, but I feel like it's a loyalty based off of like your usefulness to him.
Hmm.
And it's interesting, yet it's still like par for the course. It's just the way presidency is, this particular president, right? I don't think it feels like there's some grand plan behind all of it about like all this that's happening. But I don't know. It's all really weird. It's like, is this really the president's, like
Yeah.
really the United States is kind of how I'm viewing it? Or is this some third world country now? Soft mention, kind of like what's going on in LA right now. Wild also.
Yeah.
Uh, like the videos and pictures I've seen, it's like, wow,
The
these
protests.
these guys are in like full military like regalia outfits, and they've got like grenade launchers, etc. Like, what's going on? This is like a movie playing
Yeah.
out.
And
But
wasn't it
I
FBI agents that they were clashing with? Not necessarily like the police or the
well, I
military?
mean, see, that's the thing. It's not military. It's ICE and FBI, Homeland Security dressed up in full like military, like they're going to war, right? Or like they're like it's so weird. But I think again, there is this playbook of projects, what in 2025, right? Of they need to cause some type of event so that Trump can declare martial law or do something to where he like again, it's like this fascist power grab, right? So he needs an event. And if you think about the way that ICE has been operating, right? Of course, eventually it would become too extreme.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, too much politics, but I think the underlying there's something weird going on, and either everybody is falling into this trap, or we'll have martial law declared eventually. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's one way to continue to be a president, right? Is if you declare martial law, you can't have a vote. So
Yeah. It's
going
a scary
beyond the
scary
Elon
thought.
talk, yeah, going beyond the on it, going back to Elon. Yeah, I think it's more. We'll just see how it goes. I think as long as Elon doesn't get further antagonized, right, then he usually refrains from tweeting, going on Twitter rants. So we'll see.
Tried to get the mute.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
Like,
cut a little bit of that out.
part of my like some thoughts crossed my mind as to whether they were in cahoots together, like if they were doing this intentionally
Yeah,
to
just to distract from the big beautiful bill that's coming
distract, but
through.
also intentionally like tank Tesla stock so that market makers could buy in at a low price. Market manipulation. Part of it crossed my mind with that, but the more I thought about it, I was like, nah, that's probably not it.
Yeah, it's a little bit tougher to do. Well, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of insider trading that goes on nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I think that it'll be interesting to see what goes on from here now. I think essentially Doge, even though people, Elon and others say Doge is still going to continue on, I think it's effectively going to just die down.
Yeah,
They're done.
yeah,
I think Elon will come back and participate a bit more loyally because he needs some of the things that the government gives him. Being on Trump's side right now is probably better for him and the company versus completely going against Trump right now.
yeah.
And then I think Trump, I don't know. I think it's going to be hard to get through, like all bills are typically with the presidency, and we'll just have to see how the next few months play out with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't buy puts beforehand, but I did sell a covered call last week
Okay.
when Tesla was around like I think it got to like what was it, 360? Yeah, so I sold a covered call to get some premium,
Oh,
and then like
nice.
the next 2 days it tanked.
Did you close it?
No, no, I mean I gotta keep that until the day of.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna hopefully let it expire.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it was a covered call for 4.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
if it gets up to 415, then
Then you're okay with it. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I'm fine selling my stock.
Got it. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, the other thing that's going on for Tesla is the Robo-taxi launch. That's supposed to happen this
Supposedly,
week, right?
supposedly next week,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
12th was the date that they're planning that.
It's Thursday.
I haven't heard any updates though. Like I didn't know if they actually have the permitting to actually run. I just heard there were initially some issues with Tesla. Their drivers were going to be remotely connected to the car, but then apparently they weren't reacting fast enough, and so there actually has to be somebody sitting in the car, and then whether that person is actually on the driver's side or on the passenger side operating like a student driver where they just have a brake pedal to brake the
Mhm.
car is enough. So yeah, so again, a lot of things going on there. So I wonder if they'll actually launch. Then I'm assuming that's going to be more pressure on Tesla.
Yeah,
Well, I think everybody's used to Elon overpromising timelines and not
yeah.
delivering. So we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, crazy visible argument going on. It's just a crap show.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well,
More interesting things.
yeah. Let's chat through WWDC.
Yep.
Apple's annual developer conference is kicking off this week, Tuesday.
I think it actually starts on Monday.
Oh, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah. Monday. It's like a 4-day event, I think.
Got the
But yeah.
email, but I forgot what the logo was.
Yeah. Apple's got a lot to prove this round because, yeah, the logo, it's like a rainbow-ish thing.
Pride Month.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like a lot of companies are pulling back from.
No, it'll
But
be like iPhone colors.
but yeah, let's see what's been talked about. So apparently they are redoing the way that they name the iOS, and so now it's going to be called iOS 26 based off the year it's going to be released for. And so I think they're going to this yearly nomenclature now
Hmm.
for whatever year that's what version iOS is going to be. Seems like a fairly significant change, at least from a marketing perspective. So I wonder with that, it feels like there needs to be a bigger overhaul of the
Yeah.
OS, or it wouldn't be worth doing it at the
Yeah.
moment, right? So that's what I'm curious. What are they gearing up for in future iPhones that they need kind of like this big numerical overhaul?
AI.
Yeah, I think we'll see what their new AI strategy is, or if they're going to have to change it because this is like 2 years in now at this point since they announced Apple Intelligence. Is that right? I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yep.
No, maybe it was a year because we haven't been doing this 2 years yet. I
Oh,
remember we
year and a
talked
half.
about it a year and a half. Okay. But yeah, so they're going to have to do something like if there's a revamp strategy or if they rename, decide to do something else with it. But yeah, I'm curious. Because the rumor is like the new iPhones, they'll also have a flip phone.
That was a prediction I had too. Is like
Right.
I think they'll launch a flip phone.
Yeah, and so I think they'll probably doing something with the OS to accommodate kind of like the flip phone experience.
Yeah.
If it's this year or next year, I think that's what I'm not sure. Or maybe this is probably the setup for next year. Who knows? Well, it is 26, so they could launch the flip phone in 26, so that would make sense.
So this is iOS 26, even though it's 2025.
Yeah. Well, it could launch in 26.
So then this iOS version will be iOS 20.
Well, no, it's still iOS, whatever the current version of iOS is.
So they're not going to launch an updated version this year.
Well, remember, they've got a dev cycle, right? And so the rest of this year is probably to get developers to start developing for it, to beta test it, etc., and then it'll launch next year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So they're not going to launch one this year in
Ah,
September
yeah,
when they usually do.
yes,
Yeah.
a new development cycle, I guess. We'll see.
The rainbow is interesting because in this article that you shared with me, right under it, there's a watch, and the rings look very similar to the watch.
Ah, yeah, that's a good
So
call.
is there a fourth ring that's coming, and what will that be?
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
Sleep,
yeah,
maybe?
yeah, the activity screen for people who are running the activity screen on the Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Apple Watch is very boring at this point.
It is pretty boring.
It's like all they can add is they can make it smaller, last longer, and then a few more tracking updates. I feel it's very boring.
Yeah. Can't really do much. I mean, that was the biggest disappointment for me when I got my watch. I've only had 2 watches,
Yeah,
and then I got the Watch 4, and I'm still using the Watch 4. And the thing that was disappointing me was just that it's nothing but like a glorified notification
yeah, yeah,
machine.
yeah. Like,
Like the apps are so limited. You can't do anything on the
yeah,
apps.
yeah. I
So
have the Watch
that's why no
2
one
that,
developed for them.
yeah, I have a Watch 2. Maybe it's the one. But yeah, it basically perpetually sits on a charger because I never wear it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I wear mine all the time, and I use it for silent alarm when I'm sleeping. That's actually another good thing.
Okay.
But lately, one of my friends has converted mostly to using a non-digital watch most of the time and just using his watch for like workouts.
Mhm.
Lately, I've been actually considering doing the same,
Yeah.
pushed away from the watch I'm starting to get. Because I also use a Whoop band,
Yeah.
which tracks my fitness. So
Yeah.
it's like, why do I need the watch? I just have this.
Yeah. So probably Watch OS update,
Flip phone, potentially.
maybe flip phone.
I mean, the
Uh,
colors have to mean something.
yeah, it has.
Color, it's
I feel like
either
it's
a line
AI.
of new colors. Do you think it's AI?
Yeah, I think it's AI. I feel like any company that's doing something AI for some reason uses like this particular color scheme or color indication to signify something they're doing with AI. I don't know
Hmm.
why. It's kind of weird how they all gravitated to the same like visual nomenclature is what I'm going to call it.
Give me 1 minute. Hold on. All right, I'm back.
Okay. Let's see,
What do you
what
think?
else? Vision
Do you
OS,
think
they
hmm,
might touch on it a bit.
which
Vision OS, anything with it last time. So I figured there has to be some mention of it. Otherwise, Apple is scrapping the entire thing. It in
yeah.
there.
That's the other thing on my mind is there going to be any talk of a glasses type form factor
Yeah.
since all the other companies are launching glasses now?
So it'll be interesting if they give a sneak peek at this point. I think they're still like 2 years away, so maybe it'll be next year. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what the evolution of Vision OS is. Mac OS, I think there's plans to do a very significant upgrade to it. I feel like Apple does that every few years and it kind of messes everything up. We'll see how
Yeah.
well that goes.
Their website, they're using the term sleek peek versus sneak peek.
I guess
So
it's
what is that?
a
Sleek.
more minimal interface.
A thinner iPhone that is
Yeah,
80% thinner than the iPhone 10.
yeah. It's like at a certain point, there's no point in making it thinner because then I'll just end up breaking it or bending it because it's so thin. But yeah, we'll see. So I think mostly you're going to get the major updates. I don't know. I just want them to fix the photo app. I feel like the photo app is terrible now. They fix it.
What's wrong with it?
Like the way you look at videos now, it worked fine before, but now it does this weird, like the video doesn't take up the full screen. It's kind of like embedded within. Uh,
Mhm.
And then once you try to zoom in and you try to fast forward it around, the fast forwarding and stuff doesn't work well. It gets lost. And then, yeah, it's just like, I don't, the new photo apps, it needs, feels like it needs a lot of work. I just don't like what they've done with it.
Hmm.
It's not improved, I guess. It took me a while to figure out how to start browsing it again because they've added all these like preset shortcuts, right? Which makes sense because they're trying to, you know, incorporate AI in some form or fashion. So it's like, here are the different people you've been, right? Here are your collections, here are memories, trips you've taken, featured photos. So they're basically turning the photo into like this feed of your life that is trying to help you remember. I mean, fine, but I don't know. I wish I could turn off some things.
I have too many photos.
Same here. I have a lot. I've got like thousands of photos.
I think I have like 23,000 photos on my phone.
Really? You fit that much on your phone? How many do I have? Okay, I don't have that.
How many do
I
you
have,
have?
I have like 10,000 photos, 600 videos. So maybe that's where all my photos are. I take videos more often.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
No, I probably have less videos than that. I think probably have like 3,000 videos maybe. Wait, what'd you say? 2,600?
Yeah, 2,600.
No.
This is just on my phone, right? I've offloaded a lot of stuff because
That's hard to offload.
yeah. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, I've run out of memory before. So like I have a 1 gig phone now.
I have 27,539 photos,
Uh-huh.
2,430 videos. Did you say you have a 1 gig phone?
Yeah.
What do you mean you have a 1 gig phone?
The memory on the phone. 1 terabyte? Right, or one
Oh,
gig?
1 terabyte, not 1 gig.
Yes, 1 terabyte. Yes, I have
Like
a 1 terabyte phone.
1 gig isn't even the size of a
Yeah.
video these days.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I have a 1 terabyte phone. But yeah, I've offloaded a lot of videos.
Yeah.
I have
No,
a
my
way
phone's
saved.
only 512. It's not even 1 terabyte. But I use the feature on Apple where it saves a reduced version on your phone.
Ah, see, that's why. I
Yeah.
I don't like to do the reduced version
Why not?
because it ruins the quality.
But you have pictures and videos from like 8 years ago that you're not even gonna look at that are just taking up space on your phone.
Doesn't matter. They need to be in original quality.
But once you tap them, they re-download.
Oh, I see what you mean. You have them saved up in
Yeah,
cloud.
they're in the cloud, and then
Ah,
on my phone, it
got it.
saves a reduced version.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't use Apple iCloud to store photos. I have them on my server.
Yeah.
and then backed up a second time.
I have an external hard drive that's like 5 terabytes, but I'm just lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've lost a round of pictures before, so I'm very religious about making sure I have at least 2 copies of my photos. Because everything pre 2008, I've lost a large chunk of my memories
Mhm.
because of a hard drive crash.
But you just gotta go to MySpace, and they're probably still there. Sometimes I log back into MySpace just to
Really?
look
I
at
don't
my
even remember like what my account was for MySpace.
just to look at my photos from back then.
No, so yeah, I'm pretty religious about backing up in at least like 3 different spaces. Like
Do you have
even
a
iCloud.
server like in the cloud, or is it a?
No, it's a physical NAS.
Yeah,
QNAP. So I use a QNAP
yeah.
to store, yeah, videos, files, edits, etc. And then for the actual photos, videos, I'll have a secondary external storage for them.
Yeah, you're backed up.
Yep.
All of these, I archive and store these on my external hard drive, and then
Yeah.
I just never open it ever again. So it's like, why am I saving them? I mean, I know
Yeah.
why I'm saving them, but
Yeah.
why am I saving them?
Yeah. Well, this is also the thing about going full digital, right? It's like if you think 50 years from now, if you don't maintain stuff like that, a large portion of people's histories are just gone.
Yeah,
Versus like, when you have like film and then you have actually printed photos, it's like, they'll some of it will still be around. I mean, like for instance, you saw photos from, you know, back in the early century or like the 1900s that are
yeah,
still, but like now, if you've never uploaded it or if you're not a social fanatic on, Insta or whatever, a large part of your history will just disappear with one mistake. Kind of
yep.
interesting, actually, if you think about it. Human history is very reliant on digital, and if like something happens to it, it's just gone.
Because there's no scribes.
That's right. There aren't
Maybe that's the job for AI, is to scribe everything.
scribes.
Scribe the last 70 years of our history,
Yeah, it's not stored anywhere, right?
and then take it to the vault.
Some movies are probably not too far off. All it takes is like one massive solar flare and one huge EMP burst to basically obliterate civilization.
So then why does history matter if no one's going to be here?
That's true. Anyways,
All right, well,
deviating from our predictions, but I think it'll be a pretty boring WWDC.
agreed. Prove us wrong, Apple. And if you want to send us your products to review, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm happy to shop them.
All right. Well,
Okay.
beautiful week here, everywhere, I think. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.